Hello, everyone. We're so glad that you were able to join us today. I hope your week is going well so far. My name is Lisa, and I am one of the marketing managers here at Ninja. We'll go on to our next slide, and we'll chat a little bit about our speakers real quick before we dive in. Today, we've got Eric Herrera and Michael Shelton with us. And Eric, if you'll go on to our next slide real quick. There we go. So we've got Eric Herrera and Michael Shelton on the line with us, and between the two of them, they've got quite a bit of experience both in the tech industry and in the MSP space. So I'm really excited that we've got them on for you guys today. You're going to learn a lot with them. We'll go on to our next slide real quick, and we'll chat about the agenda. So today we're going to take just a quick refresher of Ninja, talk a little bit about who we are and where we come from, and also do a quick recap of all the exciting features we've done in the last 6 months. And then we'll go on to our 4.2 release. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, please feel free to pop them into the GoToWebinar panel at the side of your screen. We'll answer questions live at the end. Plus, make sure you stick around. We're going to announce a Lego winner at the end of the webinar. So who knows, you may be getting a Lego set in the mail soon. We are recording this webinar, so we'll be sure to send everyone a link to the recording. So if you have team members that weren't able to join, they won't miss out. Without any further ado, I'm going to hand this over to Eric to get us started. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lisa. And thank you for everybody that took the time out of their day here to attend this webinar. Really excited to kind of share some new upcoming stuff with you guys, our 4.2 release, and also just kind of do a little revisit on who we are, in terms of Ninja as a company. Do a quick high-level overview of the dashboard again. Go over some of our 4.0 features. That was our last major release. And I know there's some people that have seen Ninja previously, some people that haven't. So just really want to get everybody as much information as possible. But I'll try to save some time here for Michael at the end. But real quick, so who is Ninja at a glance, right? So we've been around since about 2013. As Lisa mentioned, a lot of people here, on the management team that have been in the MSP space for quite some time, in the tech industry. We currently have over 2,500 partners, and that's growing monthly. I know in North America alone, signing up, right around 120 partners month over month. So really exciting that people are adopting Ninja as their RMM solution. In terms of employees, we're now over 120 across the globe. And as you can see here, we are headquartered in Silicon Valley, right? The headquarter office is in San Francisco, California. We also have an office in Florida, right outside the Tampa area. And we also have an office in Berlin now, as well, as we kind of look to grow into that market as well. So really exciting times there. And just some high level options here in terms of our model, right? So some things that kind of separate us from the competition, obviously free local support, free and unlimited training and onboarding, right? And that also ties into support. We don't charge for any onboarding or support or any university classes, right? Although we feel very strongly that the RMM is pretty intuitive and easy to use. Any interaction that's needed between your technicians or new hires, right? Ninja is able to provide that for you guys very easily. In terms of the pricing model, how everything kind of works, right? No hidden fees, right? One flat per device model, whether it's a server, whether it's a workstation, right? Just trying to make it easy for all of our partners as they onboard new devices, right? They have a good idea of what their price point is going to be. Also, there's no contracts. We're not asking anybody to make a 2 to 3 or 4 year commitment, right? Obviously, we want our partners to have the best in breed solution. And obviously the no contract model allows you guys to kind of hold our feet to the fire every single day to make sure that we're putting out the best solution for you guys as well. So here, just a quick overview on some of our, our partners, our integration partners, and what you're getting with Ninja. For some of you that haven't seen Ninja in the past, or aren't too familiar with an RMM, obviously a lot of components for an MSP all tied into one portal, right? Patch management, very big these days, you know, from a security perspective, from a compliance perspective. Not only are we addressing Windows patch management, there's over 140 different third-party applications that Ninja can patch as well. There's compliance reports, so a big one there. Proud to say that we were ranked #1 for patching in an independent survey done not too long ago. And again, patching is one of those things, every single RMM vendor is going to have them, but how does it actually work, right? Obviously security, whether it be Ninja internally having a lot of different security protocols and measures, on top of being able to offer things like WebRoot, BitDefender, Malwarebytes, you know, a layered approach there. Remote control, right? Obviously a very, very big component of the RMM aspect, right? So you got TeamViewer, you have Splashtop as a backup option, and then Michael here is going to be able to show you guys another option based around the RDP protocol that we're very excited about, very secure as well. So I'll let Michael handle that, as I probably won't do it justice. Obviously on the PSA side, whether you're using a baseline ticketing solution that, you know, you're just getting email alerts, or a more robust PSA tool like a ConnectWise, like an AutoTask, or something like a Repair Shopper, right? A lot of third-party integrations to let you guys, you know, keep your workflow nice, track, you know, time, ticket time, and, you know, build that back to your customers. And the last piece here, obviously on the network side, right? A lot of RMMs handle Windows devices, some do Mac devices, you know, some, not many, do the network, right? You know, switches, firewalls, routers. So Ninja is proud to be able to have a whole module around that. You know, a lot of good things like NetFlow, port map, syslog, and it's all included in Ninja as well, all cloud-based as well. And then lastly, you know, a couple other, you know, good products that we're integrating with that are popular in our space: IT Glue, Warranty Master, right? StorageCraft on the backup side. So just trying to, you know, partner with the best in breed and just give our partners options at the end of the day. So having said that, I will pass it over to Michael, just to give you guys kind of a sentence or two on some of the key features that we have released in the last 6 months. And then once Michael gives you guys a good idea of the value of these, I'll jump back into the actual portal itself to go over some of these. So I will pass it over to Michael.
Thanks, Eric, and good morning or good afternoon, everybody, depending on where you are in the world. Yeah, so I'm Michael. I'm the VP of support. I'm also heavily involved in product management and a few other things. You guys know how things can go in the IT world where you're wearing multiple hats. I'm really excited. You know, looking back, you know, I started with the company in 2015, and it's been so exciting to see, you know, where and how things have developed and grown over the years, and so much of it is based on direct customer feedback. I mean, most of the features that we've developed have been a direct result out of our partnerships with each of you. So something that we're very excited about and we're very proud of is our relationship with each of our partners. So just kind of a quick features at a glance. You know, within the last 6 months, we released a very, very robust search and dynamic grouping option where you know, based on a dynamic range that Eric will show you as he's going through just a very quick product demo, you can set up certain criteria. Like if you want to automatically filter devices based off of memory usage or disk consumption, you can automatically sort and have groups that are saved that you can just dynamically be able to identify and look at very quickly. We rolled out an extremely robust and revolutionary script library that is just second to none. As opposed to being, you know, there was certainly a time where we were limited within what we could do and everything was policy based. Feedback that we were getting consistently is people wanted a script repository that would allow them to upload a script, edit a script, and be able to push out that script to any range of endpoints that they wanted to be able to do that with. So our script library, again, has a full script builder. You can import, you can export, you can do a significant number of things just with our script library. We also introduced kind of a version 1 of locations wherein, let's say that you have an environment that has multiple locations. You want to be able to really do some fine tuning and granular views of what's going on within each of those individual locations. We certainly have that option now as well. We introduced version 1 of device notes, where you can now put in significant numbers of amounts of data that may be important for any technician or anybody that is going to be working on that particular device. You can put in secure notes as well. We also introduced a concept of scheduled tasks. This is, maintenance tasks that you may involve yourself in on a daily basis. That may not be something that you want to have to manually do. Maybe you have a cleanup script that you like to run on a regular basis. Maybe you like to make sure that the recycle bin, for example, I'm using very simple examples, obviously, but you want to do these things. You want to do multiple tasks lumped together on a regular schedule. That's the concept of scheduled tasks. And really the whole point of most of what we're doing is just to make your life simpler, easier, to where you can automate as much as possible so that you're not having to work so hard and use so much of your gray matter on some of the minutia that's involved in the IT world. Full app localization really applies significantly to our European counterparts, where localization as far as language is concerned is really important. So we've really put a lot of work into, number one, making sure that we're GDPR compliant in terms of our data storage being localized, but just as importantly, making sure that the app flows just as smoothly and just as seamlessly for our non-English speaking partners. So we've done a lot of work with that. And then again, I can't really emphasize enough how many additional enhancements we've put in terms of search, in terms of really being able to fine-tune and isolate data sets that really matter to you. So, the number one takeaway that we've employed for the duration of Ninja, and that we're looking forward to as time marches on, is we're really looking for ways to become revolutionary and transformational for each of you in our product development, to where it's a product that not only do you enjoy using, but it's a product that really saves you the most amount of time, gets you the biggest bang for your buck.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael. I think that's a perfect segue here to let me show some of you guys out there some of the features that Michael was talking about. And as he was saying, as I kind of show you some of this stuff here, and I'm gonna keep it high level, specifically into some of the features that Michael was talking about. But I always like to challenge either prospects that have an RMM or are looking at an RMM to imagine how much time and effort it may take as you onboard a new technician or hire somebody, right? What's the lead time to get them knowledgeable on the existing RMM? Right, a lot of the RMMs have very similar functionality, but little things, especially in the IT world where time is money, how easy it is to get to information becomes very, very valuable. And I think that's where Ninja wins, and that's where our partners win, right? Because they're able to handle issues and keep their clients happier a lot quicker. So having said that, as I said, some of you may have seen Ninja, some of you may have not. It may have been a while since some of you last saw Ninja, but just giving you guys a quick update. What does the dashboard look like? Here it is right here. This screen itself, I know a lot of partners like to have it on a nice big screen or a couple screens in the office. Obviously, with the color system, it's very easy to see where your attention needs to be. But again, these are all different customers, as you can see here, not actual devices yet. But at a high level, I know at this customer here, Bob's Burgers, there's potential windows and third-party patches that need attention. Or another icon that I think doesn't get enough attention or enough value is devices needing reboots, whether that be because it's waiting for a patch to push through, or a server hasn't rebooted in 30 days or something like that, right? You can really take advantage of this and even kind of filter by that specific icon as well. Right, there's also icons letting you know how many alerts exist within a client. And lastly, there's another icon related to the antivirus, right? So the two antivirus options would be WebRoot and BitDefender. Luckily, right now, there's no issues or threats around that. As we can see here, it's green. But if there were any issues, right, this would light up on the dashboard as well, and you would be able to remediate off that. Now, drilling down from here, I pick a customer and I'm progressing downward in the structure here, and now I'm able to, see different devices. The nice thing is at this level, the icons become actionable, right? So that time to remediate becoming a lot quicker really plays here. And you can even approve a third-party patch like this one. If I want to approve for this device, or whether it was a Windows patch, I'm able to easily approve that on the fly. Or if there was a device that needed a reboot, I would be able to click into that and reboot it as well. So the information that's visible is nice. Another kind of nice view here that I'd like to share with you guys is the search here. So from this search, right, I'm able to, let me clear this out here. Perfect. I'm able to see all my devices across all customers. The good thing is there's still ways to, filter out by device type. So if I wanted to just show me all workstations across all customers, right? Even from there, hovering over a little icon, this screen itself at times it could take minutes, if not to drill down to this with other RMM. So little shortcuts like this really make a big difference. But the big value prop here with this search that Michael was talking about, being able to create dynamic groups and take actions across them. So here I just set up a filter to, filter into a workstation. I can also choose to filter down into, one organization, multiple organizations, right? Very easy to search there, but I'll keep it across the board there. So I'm across all my organizations. However, I'm just looking at my workstations. I can choose a certain device status, whether it's down, unhealthy, up, whatever it may be. For now, I'm gonna keep it all. And then this is where partners really get their value, is being able to come up with all these different filters. So many options here, a couple of popular ones, right? All devices with less than 10 gig of space, right? And you can easily create that. You can also combine them, right? Less than 10 gig and running Windows 7, right? Something like that. You can search by the OS. Another popular one is software inventory, right? So across all my customers and all my workstations, right, I want to see all device that does not contain, meaning not installed, let's say WebRoot, or let's say BitDefender, or whatever my AV solution may be. You can easily have a group that meets that criteria, and then you can create that group. You can then create a task, as Michael was saying, to go ahead and install that antivirus, right? So just a lot of ways to remediate. You can export these groups as well. Once you do save them, they do become dynamic, meaning they are saved, but machines kind of graduate into those groups as well. So it's nice to be able to go back and access them. And kind of going into another feature that Michael talked about in the last 6 months, right? Task. So I can, for example, come in here, create a task, right? It's policy agnostic. It could be devices from multiple organizations. Maybe you have a group that's all the CEO workstations, for example. But the main thing is being able to call on those groups, right? So you can call on an organization, which is fine, but a lot of the times you want to call on a group because you want to fix machines cross organization. So if I called on a group that didn't have, WebRoot installed or needed a reboot, I can call on the group. And then when you go back to your details, being able to easily, call on a script, whether it's installing a third-party app, right? Where you can just easily upload the MSI to Ninja. It could be a URL, right? We'll host that for you. Tell us what kind of context you want to run that in. But again, literally within a couple of minutes, I'm creating a group, I'm installing, I'm fixing holes that exist in my client base very easily. So I think that's been a big help for a lot of our partners. And the last one that I did want to show, in case some of you guys haven't seen, our scripting engine. Not only can you just easily import scripts, right? If you have PowerShell, Batch, Java type scripts, you can import them, but you can also net new create scripts right in the application itself, whether it's a drag and drop and you're going to edit, or you're going to start from scratch. The nice thing is you can categorize this, right, very easily if it's going to be an install or a maintenance script. But the main one is, what are the languages that Ninja supports, right? So here you can see all the different languages, even have shell script on the Mac side as well. So if we have some Mac shops out there, highly recommend taking a deeper look at Ninja, right? Because not only do we support shell script, but we also have Mac command line and stuff like that as well. So very flexible scripting languages. And once you have these scripts in here, right, you can take these scripts forever and ever and call on them, whether it's on a schedule, whether it's on demand. So, just a little insight into some of the newer features. As I said, the searches, the scripting, the tasks, really has allowed our partners to be a little bit more dynamic and easily address issues. So obviously there's a lot more here, right? In terms of, alerts, patch management, Windows, third-party stuff, right? For anybody kind of interested in taking a look at that, definitely feel free to get in touch with us afterwards. And, we can set you up with a one-on-one demo there. But having said that, I think it's time for me to pass it over to Michael, and let's get into some of our 4.2 features that a lot of people are here to see. So with that, Michael, I will pass it over to you.
All right, thanks so much, Eric. A couple things that I wanted to talk about. So we wanted to chat a bit about the 4.2 features, which is the reason why a lot of you are here. we're tremendously excited about this. We have basically 4 features that I wanted to specifically call out for the purposes of this webinar. The first one is we have a BitDefender integration now, so it's a single pane of glass inside of our product for BitDefender. Also wanted to talk about the credential exchange. So we actually have the ability to securely pass credentials down to an endpoint, and there's a wide variety of use cases where that's tremendously helpful. So we'll talk about that. Node approval and cloud RDP. We have a cloud RDP product that we've been doing kind of an open alpha, an opt-in alpha, that we're expanding our functionality of that we're pretty excited about. So let's start with BitDefender. BitDefender, obviously everybody's familiar with BitDefender, but I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about what this piece is actually going to look like. I'm inside of a policy editor right now. So under the antivirus tab on the far left-hand side, we now have the ability to choose BitDefender or WebRoot are the 2 that we have a direct integration with. So around BitDefender, I wanted to go through a few of these options so you guys can see kind of a high level, how in-depth the integration is. We believe that it is second to none. First off is the installation process. So you have, within the policy, you have the ability to determine how you want BitDefender to be installed. There's obvious concerns as an IT professional, right? One of the biggest concerns is there already an existing AV solution on the box, because we don't want to get into a situation where we have to deal with blue screen of death. So in this case, if BitDefender is already in existence, we have a couple of options. We can either take no action, which means that Ninja will not attempt to install, which gives you opportunity to remediate on your own, or BitDefender's install process actually has the ability to search through and identify any existing BitDefender that may be installed on a box. In that case, it'll make a best effort attempt to uninstall that version of BitDefender so that this version can be installed and have no option or have no issue. Obviously, with anything like this, if we uninstall other BitDefender products, because of the potentially destructive nature of any sort of uninstallation, we have kind of a secondary option or a secondary process here that is more of a confirmation step that enables, so we log which user took this action. So as a system administrator or MSP owner, you want to make sure that any potential destructive behavior is properly logged so that you can identify who took that action. So that's the piece that we involve there. Now, what happens if there's another antivirus software? So in this case, again, you have the option of having granular control over what Ninja does in those cases. You can tell us to take no action or to proceed with the installation anyway. Some AVs or some anti-malware solutions will play friendlier with others than others. So you do have a couple of options here. And then lastly, how are we going to handle this if the BitDefender installation fails? We all know that a significant number of our workforce these days is remote. So there are cases where a device may not be ready, a device may not be available, or the end user may be taking action that prevents an installation of a system like an AV product from properly installing. So you can schedule how those additional install attempts work. There's obviously a significant number of variables that you can play around with. For example, what sort of actions are taken if an infected file is found? You can either disinfect, delete, quarantine. Same thing, if the previous action fails, then you're going to take a secondary step. You can plan your full scan schedules. Basically, any of the scan schedules you can enable at a time that's going to be convenient for you and your customer base. So whether it's daily or weekly, you can schedule an exact time, local device time versus system time. If you have devices that are in other time zones as well, you can schedule it based off of that. If you have a contractual obligation for specific maintenance windows, you can schedule for those times as well. On access is essentially the real-time protection that that BitDefender offers. And then we get into the minutia, really the granular elements of what each of the scan types, what you're going to involve, and what those scans are actually going to be scanning for. So you have multiple layers of options for both quick, full, and custom scans, and then also for the on-access or for the real-time scanning as well. So you have a lot of control over just how in-depth and how robust this AV tool is going to be for you. Obviously, you can set up custom folders that you want to be able to scan. And again, what happens with our mobile workforce if a scan is missed? We have this option enabled now where you can say if a device was not able to meet the criteria of the actual scan schedule, you can make up those schedules as soon as the device comes back online and checks into Ninja with a quick scan. You have control over your quarantine purges as well as your scan exclusions. So you can add any sort of file exclusion, folder exclusion, extension exclusion, or even process file exclusion. And in fact, if something is identified, so let's say that a false positive does occur on an endpoint, one of the remediation steps on that endpoint is to restore the file and to add an exception. So that then becomes an exception to either the policy or the device at that point. So we've made it very, very easy for how to handle even cases where we all know there will be false positives from time to time. So that's a very high level of BitDefender. Again, just a quick overview is we do deploy it for you. You have options as to what will happen if another AV solution is already identified. So that's basically that. We're very excited about that. Next, I wanted to start going into, let's talk about the credential exchange. So in this case, I'm going to go into the organizational editor. I'm going to go into test org number 3. These are all the options, obviously, as you're setting up your organizations, as you're onboarding new customers. These are all the options and kind of the nature of the setup. I'm going to start off in security. Security is a new tab for us with the 4.2 release. Use cases here, this is for node approval specifically. This is a use case where if you have an organization that's particularly locked down to where you want to make sure that nobody can add devices in an unauthorized fashion, we've given you 2 additional options. So historically, those devices, as soon as an agent is installed, it checks in. Based off of the installer, it would associate itself with the proper organization. We still have that capability. Devices will install automatically by default. However, you now have the option of setting those to manual, which means that there would be a pending process that a system administrator would need to go in and approve or reject. Or if it is a particularly locked down organization that you absolutely under no circumstances want anybody to be able to install an additional agent on that in that organization, you have the option to automatically reject as well. So again, it just gives you a lot more control over what happens within your organization if you need that degree of control. So let's say that I have this set to manual and I actually do have a pending device. I can go in and as a system administrator, I can identify what is the IP address of that device, what's the MAC address. I can see some functional information about that device, and then I can select to either approve or reject. This option is only available for system administrators within Ninja for obvious reasons. And we have quite a few more improvements here that we're planning over the coming months, but we think that this is going to be a significant step in the right direction for helping you maintain security and control over what happens within your process. Obviously, this is pending, so once we've approved a device, we can see the list of approved devices. If we have rejected any devices, there's an option there as well. Now, tying into that, again, so much of what we're doing is focused around security. We know that is the dominant focus of most of us that are in this field. So we've also added in a Credential Store. One of the challenges that we've also experienced over the last several years is the need to be able to securely, emphasis on securely, pass down credentials to an endpoint for certain types of behaviors. So if I need to run a script as an administrator, for example, or if I need to install a program as a very specific user, or if I need to run a feature update for Windows 10, in some of those cases it requires an administrator credential as opposed to system, which is what we've historically used. So we wanted to give you a robust methodology for passing down a variety of credentials. So for example, if I just choose here to add a credential, you can see mostly based on our network management process, we have Telnet SSH credentials and then the various SNMP credentials as well. predominantly, we think for most of your endpoint management, it's going to be username and password, and it's as simple as this. I'm just going to type in a friendly name. If I can type correctly, domain information if necessary, and then I'm going to use a super secure password of password1. Now you all know my password management process. And if there's a validation step, so if you mistype here, it will confirm that the passwords are not correct, so that you should not be mistyping at this point. Once that's done, we just simply add it into our list here. And when we're taking various actions, like passing down a script, for example, you have the option at this point, and I'll show you this in just a moment, but you have the option of selecting whether you want a script or an action to be taken utilizing a specific credential. Now, I could go in, I could actually do an entire webinar just around the security of this, but we've used the very highest level of security that is currently available anywhere in the world. And so it's bank level security, it's tokenized, it's anonymized. I'm not sure if that's the word I'm looking for, but it's not fully anonymous. It's a one-time use token injection that allows the password to be transferred securely. So we're happy to provide documentation. In fact, as this launches within our community, there will be documentation around the security of this. But it's highly secure, and it's highly beneficial in terms of making your lives easier in terms of passing down scripts or taking various action that requires different types of credentials. The last piece is the node approval and cloud RDP. So let's talk about cloud RDP as it pertains to the Credential Store. So let me kind of show you a use case here. So I'm just going to go into one of our devices, and for those of you that are already on trial, you already have the ability to opt in to the cloud RDP beta. If you are going to be doing a trial with Ninja, make sure that you let your account manager know that this is a piece that you would like to be able to test and try. We anticipate this coming out of beta in the short near future. We want to do some additional testing and some additional trialing and that sort of thing. But over the last month and a half, we have successfully managed tens of thousands of successful RDP connections, over 1,000 partners that are utilizing this currently. And by and large, everything has been, the feedback that we've gotten is fantastic. And with 4.2, the pieces of feedback that we have received in areas that we can improve, we've implemented. One of those is the ability, again, to pass down credentials. So when I click to connect through RDP at a device, and I did that a little quickly, so let me just kind of show you what this looks like. This icon here indicates the cloud RDP methodology. The very first option now, this will be new if any of you are trialing it currently. This is a new feature that's going to be out with 4.2, is the ability to pass down the credentials. So I can either select none, I can select the default credential, and I'll show you what that credential process looks like again, because I think I passed over it pretty quickly. So I can select default, or I can select an individual specific credential that I may want to choose. I can select whether I want this to be an elevated administrator session. I can also select the gateway. By default, it's going to find the closest gateway to your actual location based on your IP address, but you can certainly select one manually if you would like to. And then there's a wide variety of options here under, as far as how the connection is going to appear and what the purpose of it is. So for example, I can select a custom connection type if I need one based on performance, if I plan on, streaming, whatever, we have the ability to focus on this, the various connection types. Local resources allows us to do another variety of things, like for example, if we want to connect to all mapped drives for that particular device, if we just want to focus on the dynamic drives, or if we don't want to map any of the additional drives, NAS drives, what have you, we can just simply select none. And including provisioning, so we can actually provision RDP connection on endpoints as well. Once all that's done, now I'm actually in a QA environment. QA knows that I'm here, but they're still actively testing for the 4.2 build, so I'm not going to connect to this device. because it's actively being used by one of our QA technicians. But at this point, literally all I would have to do, as long as I had Microsoft Remote Desktop installed on my machine, is just simply choose Connect. Again, credentials are passed down securely, and we're able to connect to a device. I think that is it. I did want to show just one more quick thing about the credentials here. So we have the ability to, obviously we can edit, and yeah, so we can basically edit, we can add in the domain information as well. We can also select what our defaults are going to be like in certain situations. So like if I'm going to push down a Mac script, for example, I can choose which credential to use for that. Windows script domain admin, if I want to, I can choose a different credential if I need to. So I can store as many credentials as necessary here in order to be able to accomplish everything that I need to accomplish. So it's a tremendously robust and exciting tool for us to be able to pass on to you guys. So that's really everything that I had to share with our 4.2 release in a nutshell. I think at this point, Lisa, I'm going to introduce you and let you kind of field some questions.
Sounds great. So we'll go ahead and we'll take on a couple of questions. I know we've still got a few coming in as people have been, curious about things throughout, a few that came in the beginning. So thank you all for submitting your questions. If for some reason we don't get to it today, we'll definitely make sure to reach back out to you and get you those answers. But we're only going to take a few today and try to wrap up a few minutes early and get you some time back in. So we'll kick off with a question about BitDefender. So we're curious if there's going to be a price difference between Webroot and BitDefender when building out their Ninja platform and their integrations.
That's a great question, Lisa. There will be no price difference, right? Whether you choose the integrated Webroot or the integrated BitDefender version, right? All partners get a choice between one of those solutions. Obviously, they can opt out of both, but there will be no price difference. You can choose either or as part of your Ninja bundle, as we like to call it. And then, part of that bundle, you can also tie in a remote access option like something like a team viewer, like a splash top. And even, if a partner happens to have, for example, Webroot already, they could transfer that license over to Ninja. On the BitDefender side, though, the one difference is it will need to be a Ninja specific BitDefender, right? It needs to be turned on through the Ninja console. So just wanted to clarify that.
Awesome. Thanks, Eric. And then we have a question on the Ninja platform. So are there built-in monitoring policies like Exchange, Windows Server that are detected automatically and monitoring policies that are applied as a result?
Since I'm here, why don't I just kind of show what that looks like?
Perfect.
That's a good question. So I'm going to go into a policy editor. Let's actually just select one here. I'm just going to choose test.org. We'll just choose the one that I was just in. So you have the ability to add in, we have default out-of-box templates that you can add that will do exactly what you just said. Now, we're also adding, it seems like, with the technology world, everything is constantly changing. We're in a constant state of flux that we all have gotten used to. So as part of that process, we're also going to be adding a significant number of additional monitoring templates, out-of-box templates within our policies.
Perfect. Thanks, Michael. So next question we've got on the board is actually about our onboarding. So do we charge for our onboarding or support that comes afterwards?
I'll take that one, Eric, I think. We do not charge anything for onboarding. The onboarding process is completely free. And in fact, we're very passionate about the support process as well. When I started with the company before there was a support team, so I was actually brought on to help grow out the support team. So we've gone from a support team of me to a support team of we're actually over 20 worldwide at this point. And we've consistently grown almost with the early Apple model of really focusing on the customer experience. We believe that the most important part of our product is what happens after the sale. So we have a support team. The bulk of our team is in our Tampa, Florida office. I live down in San Luis Obispo, California, and we have a team of 8 people down down there. So we have current support hours of 8 a.m. Eastern to 9 p.m. Eastern, and then we're in the process of growing that out to being 24/5 and then eventually 24/7 as well. Some of the things that I'm actually really excited about, and this is probably more than you guys even asked for, but the support team, most of the support team has either been actively working for the last several years in an end user IT environment, an enterprise IT environment, or they've been actively working with or for a managed service provider. So our team is painfully aware of the challenges that each of you deal with on a daily basis, and we operate accordingly. Things like first response time that is so important to you when you're actually trying to deal with some sort of urgent issue with your customers. I mean, just to give you guys a perspective, this is something that I've never experienced before, which is that our first response time is always less than 60 minutes. I mean, under very few circumstances do we go beyond that. In fact, in most cases, and for several weeks, we've operated around 20 minutes as a first response time, which I think you guys could agree is pretty unheard of. And you know, our CSAT, our customer service score, has been fantastic as well. I mean, we've gone multiple weeks with 100% CSAT. It always stays between 95 to 98, if not higher. So those are figures that I'm tremendously proud of. And the reason why we've been able to accomplish that is that our support teams feel a tremendous sense of ownership and responsibility, having had the benefit of experience in your industry.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Those are some pretty exciting numbers to hear. So I guess we'll go ahead. We'll cap off questions there. I know there are a few that we still didn't get to, but we will definitely get back to you with answers on those so that you're up to date. In the meantime, let's go over to our final slide, and we are going to announce our LEGO winner. So if Michael, you will slide over, and I will put our names into our generator. And today's lucky winner is Chuck Rogers. So congratulations, Chuck. We'll go ahead, we'll reach out to you directly to get your contact information, and we'll get a LEGO set out in the mail for you. Congratulations. And thank you everyone so much for tuning in. We really appreciate you jumping online, especially to take a peek at our 4.2 upcoming release. As you can tell, we're very excited. Again, this has been recorded, so we'll be happy to send this recording out to everyone, especially if you have team members who couldn't make it in today. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoy your week, and if you think of any additional questions afterwards, you're more than welcome to reach out to us. We'd be happy to chat. Have a great day, guys.